Ladies and gentlemen, your hosts, Michael Wilkes, Angel Ortiz, Dr. Chad, and Sam LaCavera. Go check out beardedbrowns.com and be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Enjoy the show.
Welcome everybody to this special show today. It's just a random show. Came home early from work and I was bored. And because I'm a depressed Browns fan, I decided to look up some stats on our current coach, Kevin Stefanski. And I got depressed. So I thought, hey, let me share it with other Browns fans to make them as depressed as me, especially with this weather outside. It's cold and rainy, so it adds to the depression. So welcome to the show today. Appreciate you coming on and enjoying the show with me. Let's talk about Browns during this extra show during this long hiatus of no game this week. So I'm going to have some extra content to put out there. So continue to like, comment below, share the feed, let people know that we're on. And let's just talk about Kevin today. Today is all about Kevin. And I'm by myself. And I'm not going to share everything I have because I'm sure we're going to do another show on this. But I wanted to get this off my chest because I'm so frustrated. And the reason why I'm so frustrated with Kevin is because I had so much hope for Kevin. So much hope. Kevin came in winning. And I said, man, this guy's changing the culture. Only to disappoint me the last 2 years. I am mad. I am very mad. I know you can't tell because I'm laughing to prevent myself from crying, but it's very upsetting. It's annoying that I thought that we finally found somebody that could change the culture. Now I'm finding out that the culture has been a mirage this whole time. So let's get into it today. Please, shout out to all our sponsors, Allstate, Doug White. Please give them a follow on the social medias. Give them a call if you have any insurance issues. If you're looking for a new quote, give them a call. Cleveland Ketchup, go to their website, use the code BEARDED, save 10% off of their ketchup. And I just went to, you don't have to go to their website. Even if you have a local grocery store by you, go there. If they don't have Cleveland Ketchup, ask them, say, hey, give Cleveland Ketchup a call. Hey, let's get some local product up in here. I go to Giant Eagles, a market district up the street. I end up picking up the jalapeno mustard for my sandwiches this week for lunch. And I'm telling you, it's delicious. Don't need too much because you get some acid reflux and then it's going to ruin your day. But shout out to Cleveland Ketchup. Also, Bearded Bastards barbecue sauce. That's right. If you want some barbecue sauce, go to their website, use the code BEARDED15, save 15% off your order. That some good sauce. Also, Lego Heads Barbershop in Berea, Ohio. Shout them out. They give us our haircuts and our beard trims to make us look fresh every Tuesday, for our podcast needs. If you also have wonderful beard oil. Smells like liquid gold. It makes your beard feel like a pillow. And your wife will love you more for it. So let's get into it. Kevin came in 2020, and there's optimism because he's like this offensive guru, came in from Minnesota, the Minnesota Vikings. He was their number one hire. Matter of fact, the year before, they wanted to hire him, but Dorsey elected to go with Freddie Kitchens. And you see what happened with Dorsey. It got him booted. See, I don't understand why people want Dorsey. I've seen a lot on X lately that people want Dorsey back to be the GM. There's a lot of wrong with that. I'm going to start with the fact that you have a high-ranking analytic front office. And the reason why Dorsey left to begin with is because he didn't want to deal with all those analytics. So you're going to bring a football guy here and then mix him up again with some analytic crews. He's not going to get along with him again. He's going to get fired within 3 weeks. It's part of the reason why he got fired. He didn't want to deal with the headache of the structure in which the Haslams have, which is a collaborative effort, which I personally have an issue with it too right now. Right about now, I personally have an issue with it, but that's a different show. Maybe for a different day. Maybe we could talk about that. Let me jot that in my notes. But nonetheless, Kevin comes in, and it seems to be promising from the start, right? 2020, he goes 11-5. We're like, dude, this is it. This is the guy. Manna from heaven, breath of fresh air, some innovating on offense, bootlegging, some play action. Baker looks good I think it's our first playoff win. This is amazing. This is great. We beat Pittsburgh. This is great. Then 2021 comes. He's 8-9. But okay, tougher schedule, some injuries, some stuff happens, some drama, whatever. It's fine. Next year, 2022, he goes 7-10. We're like, man, he's going down. There's some regression going on there. And then 2023 happens. And let's sit on 2023 for a second, because he was on the path of becoming either 7-10 or worse until something magical happens. It's called Flacco fever. The fever hits Cleveland, and all of a sudden, this winning starts to happen. The winning, the Flacco magic, the throwing, the Cooper looking like a legitimate receiver. Njoku has his best year. Now, is that a coincidence? I was looking at this and I thought to myself, if it wasn't for Joe Flacco coming off his couch, he was trending to have his third losing season in a row. And would have that gotten him fired? But you can't change the past. The past is the past. You got to go what you have. So we go 11-6. He wins Coach of the Year again. We lose horribly to the Houston Texans in the playoffs. But you come off that and you think, all right, we hit the playoffs and we had a good year. We were losing. We hit this Flacco magic. He's sitting with the overall record of like 37-30 at the time, I do believe. Ish, don't quote me on that. And then you feel positive. He's like, we have a winning coach. I remember doing a podcast. We started in 2023. I remember doing a podcast and my foot in the sand, in the cement, actually, not in the sand, because the sand you can move a little bit, but in the cement you can. I was dead on this. Like, well, Kevin is our first winning coach we've had here in a long time. He's above 500 in 3 seasons. This is great. Though it was a mirage, because Joe Flacco and him just so happened to just come together at a magical moment and just change the whole trajectory of that season. And yet we bid on it so much so that people thought that we were going to get the same Joe Flacco in 2023 this year, and it didn't happen. And we were, not me, most people were disappointed. I knew it was going to happen. I was like, Joe Flacco's 40. He's not going to be good. He can't even move. No, granted, he's kind of lighting it up in Cincinnati right now. So to those that think that Flacco would have changed it, all right, I mean, we both may have an argument there. But then 2024 hits, right? 2024, and that's when the dominoes start to fall. That's when I start to see some issues with Kevin, in which I start to question, why is my feet in this cement? I should start using a drill and getting myself out, because I don't want to be standing here anymore. Kevin, 2-time Coach of the Year, comes into 2024 with Deshaun Watson coming off injury again, or injury again. And here he is, 2024, going 3-14. 3-14. And 2024 was a horrible year. It was probably one of the worst years as a Browns fan I ever experienced. He goes 3-14. And this year, right now, he's sitting at 2-6. So he went from 37-30 to an overall record of 42-50. Now you have to start asking yourself, what is going on with Kevin? Is it the Stefanski slump? Is this something that he's just not seeing? Is it the play calling? Depending if you ever watch the All-22, you kind of were like, man, it's the play calling, it's scheme. Sometimes it's the receivers not getting the ball. It could be the quarterback. It could be the offensive line. Regardless of the reason, there are many coaches that could coach their teams through this. But I find myself doubting that Kevin can survive the year because I don't think he can get 5 wins. And I know we played the Jets next. And by the way, the Jets are 2.5 point favorites at home. If you lose to the Jets, is that seat on fire? It's hot right now. And I know Jimmy Haslam gave him his vote of confidence saying, hey, Deshaun Watson put us behind. I have all faith and trust in Kevin. He's going to turn this around. If you lose to the Jets, and by the way, you can't really rely on that defense because they suck on the road. Look at the stats. That's what concerns me. That's probably why they're 2.5 favorites, not because, also too, maybe because the fact that the Jets put up 30, close to 40 points against the Cincinnati Bengals on the road. I know the Bengals defense sucks, but our defense isn't good on the road. So you can't guarantee me that they're going to beat the Jets. And then they got Baltimore at home. Lamar Jackson might be back that game. You can't beat Baltimore. You never do. It's very rare. And then you got Vegas. And people are already chalking that up. Is Kenny Pickett going to light your defense up on the road in Vegas? Look at their record on the West Coast. It's not a winning record. So for us to sit there and automatically check Vegas as a win, pause. That is a pause for me. And those are 2 wins off the bat that I put down in the calendar when the beginning of the year say, oh, we'll beat the Jets and we'll beat the Raiders. And I'm thinking like, wait, maybe not, because we never beat Vegas. Ever. We never beat the Raiders at home. Whether they're in Oakland, whether they're in LA, or whether in Vegas, we just don't play well on the West Coast. I don't know what it is. So we're sitting right now at 2-6. 2024 was a horrible year, 3-14. Now let's talk about some offensive rankings in 2024. And we're going to compare them to this year. By the way, 2023, your EPA wasn't that good. Again, we were on trajectory to have a losing season if it wasn't for Flacco. 2023 and the 11 and was it 11-5 record of 2023 was a mirage. It was not 11-6. Sorry, was not real. Just not. I've accepted that. I accepted that was just lightning in a bottle, a mirage, something that just so happened just to be circumstantial. Wasn't culture. 2024 points per game, 15.2, dead last in the league. Total yards per game, 300. That's ranked 28th in the league. It could have been worse if it wasn't for Joe Flacco. It would have been worse if it wasn't for Joe Flacco. Passing yards per game, 206. That is including Joe Flacco's stats. And you're sitting at 22 at the time. It would have been worse if it wasn't for Joe Flacco. Points per game. Points per play. I'm sorry. 0.231. Now, these are deeper statistics that a lot of people get bored of, but I love them. So I'm going to say, because I'm the only one on the podcast, so you got to listen to me anyways. 0.231. Ranked number 32. Yards per play. We talk about that a lot this year, aren't we? We're talking about yards per play. Dylan can't throw. He's just check down, Charlie. Wasn't good last year. Wasn't good last year, folks. 4.6 was ranked 31st in the league. Third down conversion, 29% last in the league. Red zone percentage, 48.65. You were ranked 27th in the league. You were the worst offense in the league last year, dead to none. Worst offense. Then you come in, you fire everybody, and you bring in Tommy Reese, you bring in Bloomberg, and you're like, hey, Bloomgren, sorry. And you go, hey, we're going to go back to the old system that worked. You had the offensive lineman excited, pull pin. We're going to do a lot of play action, a lot of screens, a lot of all this. By the way, we have not seen it. Very rarely in these last 8 games, we've rarely seen any of that. What is going on? 2025. Let's talk about 2025. Let's talk about the halfway point here right now, right? Points per game, 15.8. You were averaging 15.2 last year. You're only averaging 0.6 more points a game. That's not much, folks. Not much. You're ranked 30th right now in points per game. Yards per game, 263, ranked 31st. Last year, 300. You were better. You were better in that category last year by 37 yards. Public school math, baby. Let's go. Passing, points per play. Points per play. You ranked 31st with 0.246. Points per play, 2.31 last year. So you're a little better. You're a little better. You're sitting at 31. Last year you ranked 32. You jumped up a notch. So you're not last there, but not much improvement. Not much improvement at all. Yards per play, 4.1 this year. 4.1. You're ranked dead last. Dead last. Yards per play. I'm sorry, did I say points per play? Yards per play, 4.1. You're dead last. Yards per play last year, 4.6. You're ranked 31st. So again, you were better last year. Better last year, in which we thought was the worst season in Cleveland Browns history. And that's including the Hugh Jackson 1-16, 1-15, 2-32 years. You're worse. You are worse. These last 2 years could have been 3 than you were when Hugh Jackson was here. And Hugh Jackson had Deshaun Kaiser and was it Hogan? Forgot his first name. Hogan as quarterback. You're worse. Third down conversions. You're 33.04. You're ranked 30th. Last year, better. Worse last year. You had 29.5. You're not far off. And if the way Dylan is playing, that's going to get worse. That is going to get worse. Fourth down conversions is better than your third down conversions. You're ranked 16. You're converting fourth downs at 57%. Third downs, you're converting them at 33%. You're ranked 16th in that. Red zone defense, red zone scoring, meaning touchdowns, you're doing pretty good. Once you're in the red zone, you're scoring. You're ranked 16th. You're in the middle of the pack. You're getting 57% of the time you're there, you're scoring. That's pretty good for this team. But here's the problem. You're not in the red zone often because your team can't move the ball. Because your guy that you have behind center can't throw. The touchdowns per game, 1.8. 1.8 touchdowns per game. Come on, guys. I'm getting a lot of heat right now, and this is probably why I'm frustrated that people are saying it's not Kevin's fault, it's not Kevin's fault. Then whose fault is it? Whose fault is this offense who is statistically trending to be worse than last year? And here's my other issue with Kevin right now. Pass plays. Pass plays percentage. Mind you, you have a rookie quarterback who can't see over the line, who can't throw more than 10 yards down the field. You're ranked number 3 in pass percentage with 62.89%. Let's call it 63% of the time you're passing. 63% of the time, you're passing the ball with a rookie quarterback. Now that's added. You got to add Joe Flacco stats in there too. My bad. I'm getting a little too excited. But still, you're throwing the ball 63% of the time, and you're running the ball 37% of the time. With the rookie quarterback, that needs to flip or get smaller, the pass percentage, after the bye week. It just has to. If you want to win, somehow, some way, Kevin, you have to find a way to lessen that. Completion percentage. You're ranked 30th with 59%. Rushing yards, you're ranked 30th. 30th with 3.8 yards per rush. And here's the thing that frustrates me here. Passing yards per play that you average is 5. Teams don't respect your passer. They're going to load up for the run because the passer you currently have sucks so bad that they're not even worried about him throwing over 5 yards. You're becoming easy to defend because you're limited at quarterback. And what makes me even more upset is that this is Kevin's guy, Dylan Gabriel. Kevin probably had some limitations in the draft, obviously, and they probably gave him a list of quarterbacks, hypothetically. I'm hypothetically here. I'm just going off my head. I'm not sure this happened. But he said, if all these quarterbacks in the third round, that's going to be where we want to draft the quarterback, who do you want? And he says, the short guy who can't throw downfield. Because he knows how to pass on time, he's accurate, and he's a computer when it comes to processing. None of that we've seen so far. Passes per game. Passes per game. This upsets me even more. You're averaging 38 passes per game. You're ranked number 1 in the NFL currently. Number 1, you're ranked passing the ball with a guy that can't see over the line and that can't hit a pass over 5 yards. Passing yards per game is 174 passing yards per game. You're ranked number 30th. Good news, you're not dead last in that. Interception throw percentage, 2.65. It's good. You're sitting at 26 where you want to be low there. Here's the problem, though. The turnover worthy throws, if they would have included that your stats would be lower because the interception throws would be higher. It's just the fact that these DBs don't know how to catch. And the defense has figured Dylan out. That's why he had 2 interceptions last week against New England. They know that they could sit in the box. He's not going to throw 50 yards down the field or 10 down yards. If he does, he's going to throw a floater and you can just sit underneath it. And he's been sacked 6% of the time per drop back, which is ranked middle of the field. Middle of the league. Your rushing game sucks because your passing game sucks. And I know we want to blame the offensive line. The offensive line has been pretty decent the last 2 games against Miami and against New England. No, they're not superstars, but if you give me middle of the road offensive line, you should be getting at least middle of the road quarterback play. But rushing per game, rushing attempts is 24. 24 rushes, and you're averaging 38 passing. That's insane, man. It's insane. Insane. Your rushing touchdowns per game is less than 1. You're at 17 there. Not too many people are rushing the ball in the end zone, and that's kind of the new NFL. Rushing touchdowns is -1 per game. You're averaging -1 per 3 games. Insane. You got to do better. Kevin has to do better. In 2024, he scored 258 points. That was 15.2 per game, ranked 32 out of 32. In 2025, he's ranked 30th. As a matter of fact, let's go through this. 2022, he had 21 points per game. He had 300. Check. Oh my gosh. Lord help me. Check this out. If you want to show a sign of a good coach, you should see some improvement, not digression. You shouldn't be lowering your overall offensive stats. You should be somehow either being still or improving, right? 2022, 21 points per game. He's averaged 350 yards per game. 2022, 2023, 23 points per game, 335. Little regression, but hey, the points went up. We're good. We're good, right? We're good. That's the Flacco year. He helped out a little bit. 2024, 15 points per game, and you went down in yards per game, 300. And this year, you are 15.8 points per game. And again, the yards per game are going down to 263 yards per game. You drop from 23 points per game to 15.8. That is a nearly 35% decline in scoring. You're 35%. If I was performing 35% less at my job, I would be fired. But yet here we are, keeping Kevin, advocating for Kevin to stay. The offense is scoring less. The offense is not only scoring less, but it's moving the ball significantly less efficient. And whose job is the offense? Now, on our podcast, Chad said, well, it's not on Kevin. Sometimes it's the offensive play. I get that. But Kevin has something to do with it. If something's not working, something needs to change. These stats are insane. You're 3-14 last year. You're 2-6 this year. You're 5-20 in your last 25 games. And you show no signs of improving. And yet, you're sitting there saying the quarterback we currently have, you meaning Kevin, that they're going to stick with him. There's a big debate on our podcast this past Tuesday. Chad wants to stick with him for a couple more games to see what happens. But what benefit is that? What benefit is there? I made a joke about starting Zappy eventually if Shedeur doesn't work out, but that's tongue-in-cheek. That's a joke. I didn't mean that. What I'm trying to say is I want to move so far away from Dillon Gabriel because I already know what I know about Dillon. I would rather take the remaining schedule and develop Shedeur because I want to know if he's my franchise or not. And the ceiling for Shedeur is higher than what I've saw so far with Dillon. Because at best case scenario, we're not going to see any improvement with Dillon. Worst case scenario, you're not going to see any improvement with Dillon. Best case, you'll see a slight improvement. Maybe a slight. Maybe he'll throw 2 touchdowns, or maybe they'll score 17 points as opposed to 14 points. He's limited. We've seen all the limitations. He can't throw the ball downfield. He can't see downfield. Now, the receivers aren't helping him. I get it. The scheme sometimes isn't helping him. I get it. But he can't throw the ball. He's not a playmaker. Right now, this offense needs a playmaker, and I'm hoping Shedeur is that guy. I need to know, is he that guy? And I would rather, and by the way, Dillon Gabriel is not improving each game. He is digressing each game. I want to see what Shedeur has the remainder of the games from the Jets on. Now, if they don't start him, I'll still watch the game. I'll still root for them to win. I'll come on Tuesday and complain. And then Wednesday, I'll go right back to being a fan because I'm a Browns fan. I don't care who's my quarterback. I just want to win. Kevin needs to change things up. His scheme sucks. He's no longer setting things up for positive plays anymore. What made him so good was that when something worked, he would take that something worked in week 1, apply it to week 3. Teams were prepped for that, but then he would come off it with a different play the teams were prepared for. They thought he would run left, but he technically ran up the middle, and because everything shaded to the left, it created a hole. Up the middle, the running back ran. That he is not changing things up like that anymore. He's just not. He's become stagnant. Stagnant causes death. death causes stillness. You're not moving. He's dead. That's all. I don't understand how fans can advocate for Kevin. Never will. Never can. I'm off the Kevin train officially. I'm off the Dylan Gabriel chain officially. I know the question is going to be, well, who are you going to get better? I don't know. And right now, I'm too emotional to care. Too emotional. I'll work on that homework later. By the end of the season, and hopefully I'll have my coaching list that I would love to see. But give me someone who's innovative, who's offensive, and who develops players. Give me somebody who's an offensive mind, maybe the Rams. Who's their offensive coach? Offensive coach. Maybe we could try lightning in a bottle there because he's learning from Sean McVay. His tree seems to prosper pretty well. Bring him here. Say, hey, what can we do with this mess? And here's another thing. If we start over, are we sure? Are we 100% sure that the next regime is going to want Shador as their starting quarterback? Because I don't know if you guys ever watch football, but typically, a new GM and a new coach wants their own guy. And if Jimmy Haslam tries to force Shador on another regime who doesn't believe in him, that GM or coach that Jimmy's focusing on is not going to come and play like that. They're going to want their vision and their time, which leads me to another issue. Is the organizational structure of this team. But I'll say that for a different podcast because I'm at 31 minutes. Well, that's it. I'm done. My rant is over. Thank you for listening. Again, continue to comment below. Let people know. Let me know how you feel. I'll hop on and I'll respond to these comments. And is it time for Kevin to leave, or is he just in a slump, or he'll get this figured out? And if not Kevin, who would you want as your next coach? Let me know. Send us a message on all our platforms: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, X. We're on all of them. Send us a message. If you hear this podcast, say, hey, let me send them a message. Let me give them my coaching list. And we'll respond. Maybe you would even get it on the show. Hey, Jack from Elyria, Ohio said this is his coaching list. That would be a cool exercise to do. Nonetheless, thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for all the love and support for the podcast. We would not have grown as big as we have been without you. So until next time, like always, go Browns.